Good morning, students. Welcome to my class. Today we are going to study the first chapter of 10th standard, that is revolutions that influence the world. What do you mean by revolutions? Revolutions can be defined as a successful overthrow of a government or a social system in favor of a new system. It's a forcible overthrow of a government or a social system in favor of a new system. In several places, there are people who did not have freedom as much as we have today. Those who did not have freedom, they had to fight for it. Those who deprived of freedom, they had to fight for it. Some adopt peaceful manner, some used armed rebellion. All these activities to get freedom is known as revolutions. There were Enlightenment, Renaissance, and this Renaissance and Enlightenment paved the way for the freedom. The thinkers who propagated these ideas of Renaissance and Enlightenment propagated the ideas of nationalism, freedom, democracy, equality, etc. These ideas helped the people or prompted the people to get freedom from the autocratic rules of the country. In this chapter, we are going to see 5 major revolutions. First one is American War of Independence. Second one is French Revolution. Third one is Latin American Revolution. Fourth one is Russian Revolution. And fifth one is Chinese Revolution. Dear students, firstly, we are going to study about the American War of Independence. No taxation without representation. That was a slogan by James Otis, and this slogan was thundered around the North America because they demanded representation in the government. This slogan was a result of the powerful agitation of the North Americans. We are going to see what were the circumstances that led to this kind of powerful agitation. By the 16th century, the Europeans started to migrate to North America. Their major aim was to exploit the resources. By the end of 18th century, they established 13 colonies in North America. They introduced a new policy that is known as mercantilism. According to the policy of mercantilism, the Europeans considered this North America as a center for collecting the raw materials and a market for selling their products. This policy, implemented by the Europeans with the help of their mother country, is known as mercantilism. Europeans implemented several laws according to this mercantilism. The main important mercantilist laws are the following. First one, the goods to and from the colonies must be carried only in British ships or ships built in the British colonies. The British stamp must be affixed on all the legal documents, newspapers, pamphlets, license, etc. Products of the colonies like sugar, wool, cotton, tobacco, etc. could only be exported to England. Colonies must provide food and quarters for the British troops which were maintained in the colonies. Import tax must be paid for the import of tea, glass, paper, etc. The ideologies of some thinkers also stimulated the people of colonies to fight against the clutches of the Europeans. They are John Locke and Thomas Paine. Dear students, because of these circumstances, the entire colonies of America planned to assemble together to fight for the freedom. All the delegates from the colonies except Georgia met at Philadelphia in 1774. Subsequently, they submitted a petition to the King of England to revoke their rules and regulations that were imposed on commerce and industry, and not to impose tax without the permission of the people. Instead of this, the king sent a force to suppress the people. This led the war between the England and the colonies. The Second Continental Congress was held in 1775 at Philadelphia. They selected George Washington as the commander of Continental Army. The American Continental Congress issued the famous Declaration of Independence on 4th July 1776. The war between England and 13 colonies that was began with the Declaration of Independence was ended in 1781. According to the Treaty of Paris in 1783, England ratified the freedom of 13 colonies of North America. The Constitution Convention held at Philadelphia under the leadership of James Madison framed the American Constitution, and they elected George Washington as their first president of the United States. The American War of Independence transformed the system existed there. It greatly influenced the later history of the world in different ways. Let's examine one by one. It gave direction and motivation to the later freedom struggles and revolutions all over the world. It put forward the concept of republican form of government. It prepared the first written constitution. It contributed to the concept of federal system that ensured freedom and authority of states in the Union. Students, with this we completed the topic of American War of Independence.